In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the Illume sunlights. These are sunlights that are called surface mounted sunlights. You do not have to cut out any holes. You do have to make one little hole for a cable to stick through. In this video, I'll show you how to install it from below and also on top of my concrete tiled roof. I can also show you how they're installed on Colorbond metal roofing. But this is the difference they make. They basically flood the whole area here with light, whereas before it was quite dark. So without further ado, let's get into it. Please subscribe. All right, we're going to just be installing some Illume skylights. They are Illume skylights. They are small 400 by 400 size ones. These ones are 1200 by 400 long. So when you pull them out of their box, they come with some instructions, some fixings. Just over here are the solar panels that you need to fit up onto your roof. And once they're connected, then it should work like a skylight without having to cut a big hole. These are surface mounted Illume lights. These screws need to be removed, so this whole panel comes out, and this will then get fixed up to the ceiling there. A little hole will need to be cut out for the cable to pop on through. There we go. And that's what the inside looks like. Just gotta make sure you remove the plastic film just before you put it up. On the inside you'll see it says surface mounted. There's the size of this particular light and the power rating. Just for this job, because it's so high, I've had to set up a scaffold here just so we can get to a comfortable working height. You're then going to put screws into each of the designated holes. There we go. So we've got 6 screws in this 1200 long light. Now we've got a drill hole for the cable to pop on through into the cavity, and in due course we'll pop it up through the roof. So what I've drilled here is a 13mm hole, and that'll accommodate the electrical connection that I need to pop on through there into the ceiling cavity. So just make sure it's 13mm. The next job will be to bring up the actual Illume light panel, and I'm going to be putting the cable on through that hole, and I'll hold it up into position here and be screwing in with a very small screwdriver. There are 4 screws on each side, and this is where it's a little bit tricky. You need to have a very short screwdriver that can fit here and then screw it into position. You can see here just how narrow it is. So these are the screw holes right there. Just can't focus in on it. The screws are extremely small and tiny, so be sure not to lose them, but that's the ones. Yeah, let's lift this up into position, and I'll poke that cable through that hole. So the tricky part is just trying to tighten the screws. We're just trying to use like a really narrow Phillips drive.
That's good.
Yeah, we're just using something tiny like that. So really narrow space to work with, especially if you've got like a timber rafter right here. All right. And obviously once you're done, give it a good wipe down and a good clean. Any fingerprints and marks. And that will be job done from the inside. The next step is to fit up the solar panels that it comes with. Now this is the box, okay, solar panel. And we're gonna open this up. Okay, you will get a extension cord. You will get a pack of brackets. One set of brackets is for fixing to concrete roof tiles, another one is for metal roofing. And this is the other cable that comes out the back. And this is a dimming control module also. You will get 2 bags of fixing screws and also bolts to attach the solar panel to the metal brackets. And you can see the various slots down the side here. in order to mount this upon your particular roof. Now, because I'm fitting mine to a concrete tile roof, this is just face down at the moment, but on the upper side, this is the bracket that gets used. It goes like that. Up on the bottom side, this is the bracket that gets positioned there, and basically I'll be pushing the roof tiles up, and this will end up getting screwed with one of these long coat screws into the side of the roofing batten, and then this one will pretty much just be sitting underneath the tiles, and the tile will be sitting over. I've just got the bolt going through, and I've just positioned my washer and Loctite nut on top, and to tighten it I was using a 10mm socket with a 10mm spanner underneath, and you just tighten it up. The spacing between the two brackets, you need to go up and measure if you're putting this on the concrete roof tile, and you need to make sure that this goes inside the valleys of your concrete roof tile. So it's time to install these solar panels up on my concrete tiled roof. I've got some other Illume solar panels up here, as you can see. This is the orientation that they are going to be going in. So let's push open some roof tiles. So first thing I have to do is locate where the connection cables are coming up from underneath here. One is over that point and one is just over at this point. So now I've got to shift up these concrete tiles. So to remove the concrete tiles, you've got to hammer them up. Always use a rubber mallet. Here's just a little tip. To get roof tiles out, I need to remove this so I can locate this cable, but here's just a little tip. Use a bit of wood to wedge up one of the roofing tiles here, and what that does, it gives you a bit of space at the back end to be able to literally remove a tile like that. Now I just need to locate where the cable is coming through. Alright, and there we have it. There is our cable right there. Now I've just had to remove these rear brackets off because the length here I had to cut down, as you can see. The reason for that is you have to determine how high it is from the bottom there, where there is one of these roofing battens, and the idea is it's going to fit over, but over the concrete tile like so, and then on the back side here a screw will be going in, and so it had to be shortened down. So you have to determine how much gap you actually have there. In my scenario, I've got a veneer ceiling made out of timber, and this is the top side of it, and so that is limiting how much space I have here. So everyone's roof space is different, and I've had to shorten mine like so, and I've got a hole there that I can put a screw and fix it into the roofing batten. Alright, the bottom brackets have been installed. You can probably see I have put a screw there, and that goes into the roofing batten. I'm now going to replace this set of roofing tiles, and I've chocked it up with a bit of wood. It gives me easier access under there and more space. Alright, so we put the first one up, and it just hooks up at the back end of the roofing batten. Get this second one, goes underneath. That's it there. And now I'll be able to remove this chock out. I'll need both my hands to lift it, and then it goes down neatly. As you can see, these brackets hang out the bottom of the roofing tiles. They're nice and secure, and that's what we're going to be fitting on our solar panels now too, and bolting it underneath. Let me just show you quickly the cabling, just the way I'm doing it before I put the roofing tiles back. You can see at the back of the solar panel is a solar panel controller, comes out, a wire comes here. Now I'm going to be tucking this little wire underneath the roofing tile that I'll be placing over here. Over here you see my connection to the Illume panel below comes out. I've got it into this dimmer control module. I'm going to be putting the extension cable here and here and just tucking it literally under the roofing tile. This dimmer controller module, basically you get a remote control We've got one from our previous kit over there, and you can control the Illume lighting and make it dimmer or brighter because of this controller. If you don't want to use that, you don't need it, you can attach the solar panel directly to the Illume panel and you'll still be good to go. So that's it. I'll be covering this up now. That's the first one. That's the next one. Put one more there. There it is, poking under. Now this solar panel can be positioned into place like that. And now I just need to put the bolts underneath and just tighten them off with a socket set and spanner. All right, I've just tightened up the bolts underneath here to the frame, just using the 10mm socket and spanner. And can I just say, that is a terrible, terrible system. Illume really needs to think of a better system of putting this onto this, whether it's some sort of a snap-in clamp system, but the bolt and lock nut system is absolutely woeful. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Trust me on that one. All right, I've replaced the other tiles and now we've just got 2 tiles left. These tiles will just literally be sitting over up on top of that. So the weight of the tile is just going to be securing that in, and that's it. That's one tile back. Time to put the next one over. All right, last tile, I'll chock up this corner. It gives me a little bit of space to work with. Get this tile, put it there into position. I can move this out. Usually I need 2 hands for this. And then finally, just got to pull those tiles down. Need 2 hands for that. It usually helps just to lift up this corner and then they will slide on down easily. There we go. So as you can see, we've completed the install here. Everything's nicely covered back up and secured. Just got one more to do over there. Just fitted up this second panel. Here is my cable work. It's just going to be underneath this tile, and the tile just literally sits on top of it. There we go. All right, cool. Just put those tiles up. All right, and that's it. Both panels are now fitted into place. It all looks fairly neat and tidy. Just in case you're wondering how to fix it to Colorbond roofing, this is 3 of them right here, and you'll be just simply screwing them onto the top of a ridge of your roof line. And I just put them in parallel series here, and I just figured it like this. Just make sure you put like a rubber seal underneath. Much easier compared to putting it onto concrete roof tiles, that's for sure. And there we have it. That's the Illume lights all installed, 1200 by 400. Got 2 small ones there, but these big ones make all the difference. Just lighting up this whole area, making the dog happy. This is the controller for the dimmer control module. To be honest, it doesn't really work. We put in new batteries and this was hit and miss from the very first time that I got it for those 2. We never really ended up using it. Even with new batteries in there, it really doesn't do anything. So it's either faulty or whatever. So yeah. So that's it. Hope you found it useful. Give the video a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching.